Life-changing money. That's the topic for today. How much money would it take to change your life forever, right? I think a lot of people think of winning the lotto or hitting it big and getting some big sale and getting a windfall of money where there's like millions of dollars, whatever it is. But I wanna propose something a little bit different to you today. Something that maybe you hadn't thought of, something that would provide you with the type of financial freedom that you've really been looking for all along, not necessarily, like, look, don't get me wrong. If you win the lotto, take the money, right? And not only take the money, but in most cases they say, take the lump sum, right? Because you're better off that way. However, what I want to describe to you today is something a little bit different. And before we can come up with how much money would change your life, I want to show you kind of my thought process on what the equation would be for changing your life financially, and thereby changing your whole life, right? Because, you know, they say money doesn't make you happy, but I've also heard it said that money only solves the problems that not having money causes. And I will tell you that not having money causes a lot of problems. So let's just take a look. Let's just imagine. I want to take kind of a framework of what the average person, you know, pays on a regular basis just for their essentials to live, you know, here in America. And first and foremost, I recognize that the numbers I'm going to give you, they're just examples. You're going to need to plug in your numbers into this in order to really understand what it is that's going to be needed for you. However, you know, here in Florida, I'm going to give you just kind of some basic roundabout numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the average monthly budget for expenses for a normal person. And I say normal, you know, with a little asterisk, right? But let's just say housing, okay? Whether you own your house and you're paying a mortgage or you're renting, I'm gonna say that a good round number is $2,000 a month. The reason that I say $2,000 is because I know some people pay more than that because they have a bigger house, because they have a family, or they live in a city or a town where that's not realistic. And then other people are single and they pay much less than that because they live in a rural area in a studio apartment. So $2,000, not a crazy number. 2023, I think that's probably a good number roundabout to use. So every month in and month out, whether it's rent or mortgage, that $2,000 is due every month, right? So if you were to get a lump sum, right, then that lump sum would be kind of chiseled away at little by little with, you know, the monthly expenses that you have that come every month. So next up would be utilities. Okay, now utilities, I'm gonna include in utilities, this is gonna be electric, water, internet, cell phones, anything that like you obviously need to have. You have it on, you always have it, and on a monthly basis, you owe money for it, right? So I'm gonna say $1,000 a month for all those things that I just listed. Now again, I understand down here in Florida right now, people's electric bills are on the rise. It's summertime at the time I'm recording this, and it's super hot, it's super humid. People have their ACs running day and night, and $1,000 a month may not be realistic for that particular person, but again, round general numbers. So housing, utilities, and then I'm gonna say food as a total category. And look, everybody's all over the map with this number, but I would venture to say that between having meals delivered with Uber Eats, eating out, and the fact that groceries are going up, I'm gonna just put in here $2,000 a month in food. Now, again, that's one of those controllable numbers where it could be any number of things that go into it. Could be a lot more. Maybe you're good at clipping coupons or you're a miser. For you, it could be less. And then I'm just gonna create a category called other, all right? And in the other category, I'm gonna put $1,500 a month. And the reason I'm gonna put $1,500 a month is because, look, some people have car payments, some people don't. Some people, you know, pay insurance bills or this or that, all kinds of things. But let's just say that there's at least another $1,500 a month in there that people pay on a monthly basis out of their budget just to live. And so just some easy math here. We're gonna add all this together. 2, it's 4, 5. All right, so we have $6,500, $6,500 a month. And we're gonna say that this is regularly occurring essentials, okay? Essentials that Americans pay on a monthly basis just to maintain their household. Now, you're paying $6,500 a month. That's 6,500 times 12. That is $78,000 a year, okay? So times 12, right? And it's gonna give us $78,000 a year, okay? And so one of the things that you might wanna keep in mind is the median household income in the United States right now is about $55,000 a year. That means all the incomes in the household equal $55,000. The average man, breadwinner in the United States today is making about $37,500, somewhere around there, $37,500. So clearly I understand this number may be high, but I want you to understand that a lot of people who are watching this, their number's lower, your number may be higher, but I think this number is gonna capture a good amount of people. That this is the amount of money that it takes to run your household with nothing left over, right? So we wanna get that number in our mind. What is the budget of expenses that we have currently that is coming in month in and month out? And I don't mean the extras that you do. You know, you could throw in whatever numbers you really want into it. You just have to come up with a number that every month in and month out, you know you have to make in order to continue your lifestyle today. Once you catch that number, here's what I want you to do. In this case, the number was 6,500, right? All right, on a monthly basis. Well, we take that 6,500, and what I want to do is I just want to imagine for a second that what if you had that 6,500 times 2? And that would be what, 13,000? $13,000 a month, okay? So $13,000 a month. So what if instead of every month you having to go to work on a regular basis, right? So you go, you work, you clock in, you clock out, whether you have a salary or whatever your job situation is. In order to get that money on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, you have to go and work. And so if you were able to make this number, the 78,000 or more or less, again, whatever your number is, what if you didn't have to go to work, but the money still came in? What if you started the month off and you already had $13,000 coming in? What would you do differently? Would you do anything differently? Or, I mean, maybe you're the type of person that you're like, oh no, I love my job so much that I would just continue doing it. And that's great. But if you were to get injured or sick or something like that, would you still have that money coming in every month? Would you have this much money coming in? Do you have double your expenses coming in on a monthly basis to where you can then put some in savings and investments and maybe do some leisure activities that you want to do, things that maybe you haven't done in a long time? And so what I'm proposing here is that if you could start off the month with $13,000 without having to work, wouldn't that change your life forever? I mean, that's the whole point, right? We're trying to figure out what is life-changing money. Now, here's another thing I want to kind of examine. $13,000 isn't $1 million. You know, goodness gracious, let's just think about it. Even if you just had the $6,500 coming in on a monthly basis where you didn't have to work for it, wouldn't that change your life? I mean, if whatever, and I say 6,500, I mean the number for you when you look at your budget, that number would change your life. Wouldn't that make things different for you? So here's what I want you to understand. There's this thing that I learned about called passive residual income. Okay? Passive residual income. Now, let's just break this down. Passive. You didn't have to go to work for it on a regular basis, right? You didn't have to clock in and clock out. You're not obligated to continue to go and trade your time for money, so to speak, in order to get it. I get some pushback on the passive part because like people who invest in real estate, they're like, oh, make all this passive income in real estate. And then people that get into real estate, they learn that real estate investing is anything but passive. Now there are ways to make it passive, I suppose, but in general, those of us that are starting out without a lot of capital, meaning we don't have millions of dollars to just go and invest and pay a management fee and people just take care of it for us, those of us that have to bootstrap it and we're coming up from the bottom, we're trading the sweat for the capital, right? Sweat equity versus having the capital, the money, right? The monetary equity to make that happen. So how can somebody like us who are just starting out or maybe halfway along the way, how can we turn it into passive income, right? That's a key piece. I would say, and I'm gonna define passive as anything where I'm not having, again, to trade my time for money. I'm not clocking in and clocking out. If I didn't show up one day, it would still be there, right? That's the thing. The residual piece. Residual, when I say residual just means on a recurring basis, continuous. In my case, I'm talking about passive residual income coming from on a monthly basis. Because there are businesses and things out there where you make a residual on an annual basis. And then there are businesses where you make it on a monthly basis. I'm going to suggest that the monthly basis is better. I think that when I explained this number to you and how I thought of what is life-changing money for me and my family versus, our expenses and all those things, having a passive residual income, right, revenue coming in every month, that was something that if I woke up, right, in the morning, could I go to work? Sure, I could go to work. I could start increasing that number if I really wanted to. Could I stay home and decide to hang out with my kids? Or maybe it's not that, that cut and dry. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what, today, instead of going into the office at 8 a.m. because I work that 8 to 5 schedule normally, maybe I could take my, kids to school today. Or maybe I could go take the kids to the park or something in the morning and then take them home. And I'll go into the office at 10 or 11 or something like that. Or whatever, meaning having the freedom to make the decisions that you want based on your lifestyle choice, not based on the choices that someone else has made for you. So, passive residual income. Obviously, wouldn't it be awesome if you had $13,000 or, like I said, even $6,500, but $13,000, double your monthly bills in passive residual income? Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, I think of all the things that I might have done differently in the past if I had gotten to this quicker because, nobody told me about it. I had to kind of figure it out on my own. I would have done this a lot quicker. So here's what I'm suggesting, right? So this is a credit card machine, right? You may have seen one before. I'm in the payment processing industry. That's how I created a passive residual income stream for myself and my family so that we could pay our bills and that I'd have, this money coming in month in and month out, whether I decided to go on vacation or not. But what I did is I said, you know what, I could get in this industry and I would just go get businesses to use me as their credit card processing guy. And when they do that and they agree, they use that machine, right? And I'm using a machine as an example, but obviously they could use an e-commerce store connection, or they could use a point of sale system, a computer system, whatever, right? In many different ways, to represent the credit card machine. But the point is that it's credit card processing. The business pays a fee for this credit card processing, and because I'm their guy for that credit card processing, I get a piece of what they process every month, month in and month out. And of course, they're still gonna be in business, they're doing their work, and they're gonna continue to process payments because they want that revenue for their business. And as long as they continue doing that with me, I get to make a passive residual income. And so the business, loosely named is Merchant Services. Something you may want to do some research on, but here's what I want to tell you. We are currently training agents throughout the country to go and do exactly what I've showed you here, to take their monthly nut, right? Whatever it is they have to cover on a monthly basis, finding a way to get double that in passive residual income using the Merchant Services business. That's life-changing. That will change your life. You could make passive residual income in the Merchant Services business and cover all of your expenses ×2. And if you do the things that we train you to do, it's not a matter of if you would, right? It's a matter of when you would get those results if you do the things we say to do, right? If you get the accounts, all those things. I want to leave you with that. I think this is really an awesome thing to ponder. What type of money would be life-changing for you and your family? What is your housing expenses? What are your utilities? What is your transportation expenses, your food expenses? You really get a look at your budget. Dave Ramsey has a spreadsheet that he gives out. I don't recommend all of his advice, but I think he's awesome at helping people make the right behaviors when it comes to budgeting. And if you can figure out what is the monthly amount that you need every month and then double it and say, that's my goal for passive residual income, then you would have true financial freedom at that point, and you'd be able to think otherwise. And then you'd be able to figure out ways to go and use that money to make even more money. You do all the things that people talk about all the time. So if that's something that you might be interested in, I want you to click the link in the description or just comment start in the comments and we'll reach out to you. But don't wait, right? There's an old adage, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today, right? They say that about retirement funds, right? The best time to start a retirement fund or a retirement account or whatever plan was 20 years ago. The next best time is right now. And so there's no better time to act on things like this when you have hopes and dreams that are not being satisfied because of your financial situation. There's no time like right now to act. And so I encourage you, just reach out to us, click the link in the description. We'll get with you. We're going to be launching a course and all this here in the near future so that you can learn the steps to get this that you're working for right now turned into this, right? Through this, right? And of course, this is your monthly nut, your passive residual income in the merchant services business. So anyways, I'm excited to meet you. I hope to talk to you soon. Bless you, and see you on the next one.